Hi, as part of research assignment, I am going to discuss about locality aware scheduling for containers in cloud computing. I have mentioned the writer name and the link on this page. So we are going to discuss about the problem statement. Suppose we are deploying application in cloud environment. So cloud environment scheduler is more focused about load balancing. They don't care about some other important aspect like application performance and network bandwidth. Problem of this approach is we will face a performance degrade in container. Suppose I am deploying application using Dockers and they are accessing same hard disk. Virtually the address of hard disk are separate for them, but physically they are accessing same hard disk. As we know, hard disk cannot search and give the data parallelly, so we will face a performance degrade in container performance if multiple container will try to access the same hard disk. Same case we can assume for network bandwidth access also. If network bandwidth is shared among multiple container and there are a lot of requirement of network bandwidth by each container, in this case we will face performance degrade in container. So for solution, if we will see the type of application, we can categorize most of the application in three categories. They may be either CPU intensive, they may be either disk intensive or IO intensive, and they may be either network intensive. If application is CPU intensive, when we scheduler is deploying, they should check there are enough CPU resources are available for serving the application. If application are IO intensive, then scheduler should check that for particular zone enough IO bandwidth should be available to serve those applications. If application are network intensive, so scheduler can deploy application in intelligent ways. Suppose one application is depend on other application. So if one application is sending data to other application, so both application can be deployed in same zone. That network bandwidth should be used in optimized way. So we are going to discuss about the novelty. So if you will see, the modern scheduler more focused on the load balancing rather than application performance and network bandwidth. So result is the poor performance of container. If you will see the application nature today, they are more data intensive or they may use big data. And suppose one microservice is interacting with other and they are processing big volume of data and they are sending big volume of data on network, so a lot of network bandwidth consumption also. So if we will follow the above guideline that is suggested for deploying the application, then we can achieve great performance from the container. Now we are going to discuss about the critics. So when we deploy the application in the initial phase, we are not much aware about the resource requirement of application. We don't know application is going to use how much disk IO, how much network bandwidth, how much CPU. So if we will try to formulate this, it will be a NP hard kind of problem, and for solving this we required exponential complexity. We will try to understand how can we formulate this. For mathematically formulation is easy, but in real world implementation it is very difficult. So suppose I have A1, A2, A3 AI application and I have zones Z1, Z2, Z3, Z4 like that. So what I am going to do, first we will sort the application. We are considering only single factor disk IO for simplicity. So we will sort the application on the basis disk IO, and this will be in the descending order of disk IO. Higher disk IO requirement will come first, then lower, then lower. Same way we are going to sort the zone. So the zone which provide higher disk IO throughput, that will come first, then lower, then lower, then lower. Now what we will do, we will take application 1 and we will search for that zone which fulfill their disk IO throughput requirement. After that we will check that zone has enough number of CPU and disk requirement for that application. If yes, then we can deploy that application in that particular zone, and we will update the zone resources. Mean whatever resource we have allocated to that application, we will minus from the total resource. So if we will repeat this process, we can deploy all the application. But what is the main problem? Problem is we are not aware about what kind of resource are required in the initial phase of application. So it is a very difficult to implement in real world. So how can we recognize the application deployment requirement? How can we improve this algorithm? So we can use historical data and machine learning based algorithm to analyze the resource requirement of application with respect to various parameters, like in high load what kind of resources is required to that application, with respect to time what kind of resources is required to that application. After analyze data, we can suggest scheduler to what would be the best deployment policy for scheduler for a given application. In this diagram, we will understand the deployment strategy. So what ML application will do, it will analyze the historical data and conclude what kind of resource requirement by application. Whenever scheduler is going to deploy application, he will give the application detail to ML application. ML application tell what is the best strategy to deploy this application. So scheduler will follow the consultancy of ML application, and it will deploy the application in appropriate zone. Thank you.